Hey, thanks for joining me for a thought for today. And here's something that we can think about. What does it mean to be a servant? Think about that. I was in prayer recently, and I was praying about what I might be able to share with you folks in these sessions. And on two prayer occasions, when I was praying to the Lord gave me one word. And the word was servant. Didn't give me anything else, just that one word, servant. A servant is not thought of as a very high-ranking position in our world today. But I believe in God's economy, it is the highest position that one can attain to. Charles Spurgeon, a minister in the 1800s, he was an English minister, and he made this statement: if God has called you to be his servant, don't stoop to be a king. 100 or so years later, Ruth Graham, and when talking about her husband, Billy Graham, she made this statement, a very similar statement. When God has called you to be an evangelist, you don't stoop to be a president. Well, I was praying again about this and what the Lord wanted me to share, and I was just asking him, Lord, what do you want me to share about being a servant? And as soon as I asked that question, all of a sudden I was reminded of two people that I knew were facing some physical health issues, and I just felt I needed to pray for them. And so I said, Lord, can I wait for your answer about the servant? And I felt he was okay. And so I began to pray about these two different people that I knew were going through some health issues. And I spent quite a lot of time just praying for them and interceding for them and believing God for his work and his answers in their lives. And then I came to the end of that, and I began to think about and pray about some personal things and some things that I was looking forward to doing in a few months, but some situations and circumstances had come up that were going to prevent that from happening. And so I was just talking to the Lord about it and said, Lord, you know what I'd like to do. But then I added these words, but Lord, I yield my will to yours. I yield my will, Lord, to your will. And as soon as I said that, the Lord spoke to me and he said, David, that's what it means to be a servant. When we had slaves here in America, the slaves, they had to yield their will to that of their master. And so it is with our relationship with Jesus. He's not a master that lords it over us, but he is the one that we are to serve. And as his servants, we are to yield our will to his will if we're going to accomplish the things that he wants us to accomplish. We've got to yield our will to him. And I believe that when you do that, you will find yourself most of the time serving people. Why? Because Jesus is all about people. Yeah. Jesus tells us that when we go to heaven in Matthew 25 and beginning at verse 35, he tells us he's going to say some things to us, and I just want you to listen to it. He says, for I was hungry and you gave me food. I was thirsty and you gave me drink. I was a stranger and you took me in. I was naked and you clothed me. I was sick and you visited me. I was in prison and you came to me. And it goes on in that passage to say that we will then say to him, when, Lord, did we do these things for you? And he answers that question in verse 40, and he says, assuredly I say to you, inasmuch as you did it for the least of these, my brethren, you did it to me. You see, when we are serving people, we really are serving the Lord. I heard a testimony recently about two groups of people that went to Thailand to share Jesus with the people there. These two groups, they divided into two groups, and they were connected to each other, but one of the groups, they said, well, our purpose is going to be that we're going to share Jesus with anyone who will listen to us. The other group, they said, we are going to just go there and serve the people. That's our purpose. Well, both groups went to Thailand. They were there for 2 years, and at the end of that 2 years, they came back together and they compared notes. And the ones that went there to share Jesus with anyone who would listen, two people had come to know Jesus Christ as their Lord and Savior, and they were grateful for that. But those who went there with the purpose of just serving the people, they had won over 200 people to Jesus Christ. And some might say, well, how does that happen? Well, when they were serving the people then began to ask, why are you doing this for us? And then they were able to tell them that Jesus had given us such a love for you people, that we just want to serve you. And so that's what they did. Well, then the people began to ask about this love of Jesus. And they were able to tell them about Jesus, and over 200 had received Christ as their Lord and Savior. You see, when you're serving people, you're serving Jesus. So what does it mean to be a servant? To yield your will to His will. And when you do, you'll find yourself almost all the time serving people. So when you go out today, look for people that you might be able to serve in some capacity. It doesn't have to be anything great, because I believe when you do, you're going to find yourself looking for ways to serve Jesus. Hey, God bless. Thanks for listening to me. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.